Hey everyone, Road Breach here, and welcome to the Rise of the Trailers. We're covering the trailers of Rise of the Beasts, Pragmata, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and the Ruin DLC for Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I am still making the Darkspark video, but I just wanted to talk trailers for things I'm interested in. So without further ado, let's talk about the new trailer for Rise of the Beasts. I was worried that Paramount was unsure about this movie doing well, because for a while, we didn't get any new trailers for the movie. They could very well have some apprehension that they aren't sharing with us, but I think the fact that they not only gave us plenty of trailers, but also a whole clip from the movie, could very well mean they have far more confidence than I thought. The clips of the action scenes were given look pretty cool, and the transformations are fun to watch. We're also given more shots of the human characters, which could be indicative of the movie giving us insight into the main human characters and getting us to care about them. We're first and foremost here for the Transformers, but giving us reasons to care about the humans they're protecting is also something I believe is important. I liked the kids in Prime because their personalities bounced off well with the other characters, and Fowler was a good part of the cast too. This is something that applies to any movie with main characters who aren't human that exist in a world with humans. If Noah and Elena have fun interactions with the Autobots and Maximals, then they could very well be looked on as another good part of the Transformers mythos. We're told that the Maximals have been here for centuries, so this either means that they traveled through time to arrive on prehistoric Earth, or they were already here before the Autobots, and they just didn't show up for centuries. Keep in mind that the Maximals were originally descendants of the Autobots in Transformers Beast Wars, so we don't know if they're still descendants here. I personally feel it's too early to use Unicron in this new series. This is on the same level as using Parallax in the Green Lantern movie. They use a character that's incredibly powerful too soon in a movie that's early in a possible new series, to where the stakes are too great to continue. As much as I revile the MCU these days, they knew what they were doing when they made Thanos the big bad of the Avengers series. So, this has me concerned about the long-time plans here. I think it's also cool that we're bringing back the exosuit in this movie. The pictures I've seen of this thing look pretty cool, and I think giving the humans exosuits have a place in the Transformers franchise, as long as the media they're in is good. I'm looking at you, Transformers Beyond Reality. Seeing Pablo in action makes me think a little more highly of the design they went with. His arm cannons here also make me think of Mega Man's Mega Buster. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this movie, and you bet I'm gonna cop me one of those Optimus Prime popcorn buckets. Now onto Pragmata. This is a game in development at Capcom, and we're not given much information about the game, outside of it being a science fiction action-adventure game about a dystopian future. The dystopian future setting is something that's only given to you on the listing for the game on digital storefronts, by the way. A sci-fi action game by Capcom is something that already has me pretty excited for this game. Capcom has a great track record, due in part to the fact that I'm enjoying reliving the adventure I had with Leon in Resident Evil 4 the remake. Capcom has made some missteps in the past, with games like Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil Survivor, and I've seen that Resident Evil Gaiden is looked upon with some disdain as well. But Capcom has been killing it recently with Resident Evil Village and the aforementioned Resident Evil 4 remake, as well as Street Fighter 6, I forgot to write that in the script. From what we're shown in the trailer, this game is probably going to take place in space, and we're going to need to protect this little girl. This spaceman character also has some sort of fabrication device, which will most likely mean this game will have a crafting system. The little girl also seems to either be a cyborg or a robot, because it seems she's able to activate this guy's fabricator, and she's either able to breathe in space or doesn't need air at all. Before I hear someone say I'm assuming this spaceman's gender, he does speak in the trailer.
What is that?
Freedom.
I also have to wonder about the obsession with sci-fi helmets not having any real visor. Other than that, the words sci-fi, action-adventure, and Capcom in the same context is all I need to hear to get me interested. I'm curious to see what this game will have in store for us. Let's now talk about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Like I said in my Earthspark review, I have a tendency to think that something I get promised won't come to fruition, but I'm happy whenever I get proof it's still happening, like in instances such as this, which won't be the last time I feel this way in this video. I love the fact that the advert in the trailer recites a line from the game.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Having something like that in the trailer, I feel is a good start. Looking at the pizzeria, we can see that the layout does look markedly different from what we see in the game. But there are some familiar design cues with the decoration in this place, like the checkerboard pattern with the red lining on the walls, and the arrangement of the animatronics. Speaking of the animatronics, they look very accurate to the game. We also see little bits of Foxy, but he's either not completely on screen, or just casting a shadow. One thing that people are complaining about is the red eyes in both the teaser and the trailer. I do think this is pretty cheesy looking, and it is inaccurate to the game. The game had the animatronics' eyes changing from normal to black voids with glowing dots. We also see a couple of shots of children in a forest, which could probably be the children that William Afton killed, and these shots are flashbacks. We also see that Mike Schmidt is locked into this chair in the office with some dangerous contraption over his head. One part of the game that didn't make sense is why someone would stay at a dangerous job like this for multiple nights. So maybe William is like Jigsaw in this movie and forces Mike to stay multiple nights against his will. This is something that makes it apparent that this is very much an adaptation, in that it takes the base ideas from the source material and changes what wouldn't work in the medium you're translating it to. I also found that Elizabeth Lail is playing Vanessa in this movie, who is a character that was introduced in Security Breach. This is a change that makes me wonder what they plan on doing if they want to make this the new Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. One thing that felt off-putting to me was that this movie looks a little cheap. Movies that are made cheaply have a bad stigma with me, in that cheap movies are bad. Far too often I keep hearing about these terrible movies that just so happen to be cheaply made. I want to make it abundantly clear that just because something has an inexpensive production doesn't make that thing bad. There's plenty of movies that had low budgets that were massive blockbusters, so this aspect of the movie isn't indicative of the quality. Though I will point out that the production on this movie was pretty short. It finished filming this year and it's releasing October 27th of the same year. I am hopeful, but we'll just need to see for ourselves when it comes out. And finally, let's talk about the trailer for the Ruin DLC for Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. It's been suspected that this DLC is the bad ending of the game, one where Gregory didn't get out of the Pizzaplex, but it burned to the ground. I believe this could be something of a what-if scenario, because it doesn't seem that the DLC's story has any connection to any of the endings we can get in the base game, outside of the Pizzaplex being condemned. We can see that the Pizzaplex in the DLC is in a state of disarray, and the animatronics are in worse condition than how we left them, much like the title of this DLC implies. It looks like Monty has the worst of the damage, to where the only visible part of his casing is his mohawk. In the DLC, we'll be playing as a new character named Cassie. One problem that the base game had was that we didn't get any insight into Gregory as a character, so hopefully this DLC will establish who Cassie is and what significance she has to Gregory. I imagine that Gregory was brought to the Pizzaplex with other children who came from an orphanage, and Cassie was Gregory's friend. The relationship between Cassie and Gregory is going to need to be established in the DLC. It also looks as though Freddy is among the animatronics that are in disarray. There are also a few points in the trailer where the Sun/Moon animatronic and Roxy are close to Cassie but not attacking her. So the question remains, will this game have a guardian animatronic, and who will it be? The poster for the DLC gave us the inclination that it could be Chica, but Chica doesn't seem to know that Cassie is even there. It's obviously not going to be Monty because he's very clearly attacking Cassie in the trailer. You could make the argument that Roxanne is probably just confused, so it could probably still be Freddy, and the Sun/Moon animatronic is probably just toying with Cassie in this clip. It looks as though the DLC will have new mechanics, seen with this device that Cassie has. It also seems like this mask will be something that comes into play. And maybe we'll see Glitch Trap as something that we need to look out for while using this mask. It also looks like the camera system is different, so instead of being able to access it at any time with a Fazwatch, we're going to need to go to a stationary terminal to access the cameras. The base game was immensely disappointing, but I am intrigued for what this DLC will be like. And that's about all I wanted to get out there. Overall, no matter what they may be, I'm excited to experience what the future has to offer. But what do you think? Are you excited for anything I talked about in this video? Have any criticism you want to share? Let's discuss it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and gotta zoom.